going into IP, this is something that I could actually be a lot better at. So I had a case last year actually, going back to that calendar project. So I was super proud of that work, and it was something that I felt like I'd done on my own. And anyway, roll up to this humongous event, and one of my photos was being used by a really huge university in their marketing site, and it was printed out like huge, like a billboard size, and it was hanging up in their site. And I walked in and straight away I saw it, and I was like, oh my god, they've actually stolen my work.
Have you ever walked into an event to see your work displayed without your consent? Had someone make money off your work or duplicate an idea you created? Today, we smarten up on protecting our work and the real estate of our minds.
Ka kōrero tēnei wehenga e pā ana ki te taha tiaki I o mahi. Ko ngā mahi ka mahia, ka mana haua e tō kamupene, nā wano, nā reira, tiakina o mahi ki te kore kei tāhai o whakaaro.
IP, intellectual property, is a very big thing for creatives. We need to know our rights, we need to understand our rights, and we need to understand how we challenge people if we feel people are ripping us off.
I took a whole lot of photos of this particular event. I shared them to be used privately with a bunch of people, and then one of those people went and posted them all up on his Facebook and claimed them as they were his photos.
I didn't know what to do, but I asked the person who was in their site, I was like, oh, who done that? And they were like, oh, one of our marketing people. I don't know what she said, but I was like, really cool, and cool as because it's my photo and I knew nothing about it. And the lady was just like, oh shit, well, you can talk to this person. And I was like, yeah, where are they? And they're like, oh, they've gone back to Hamilton and we're in Christchurch. I talked to a few of my photographer friends and my business mentor. None of us knew what to do about it, because I felt like I was in the wrong, because I had given the images to the person in the photographs, and then she would have given it to that university to use for their marketing. So this is a case of where you need to get your consent forms signed, and you need to state things like that you own the copyright and blah blah blah. But anyway, I hadn't done that.
For myself, when I create something, it's really quite personal, and I put a lot of time and effort into it, not just to sell it, but because I love doing it. To see someone take that same product and make it without all the attention and love that you've put into it can really, for me, it really cut quite deep.
Beginning of 2017, went to another event of the same kind. Humongous event. And I'm watching on the big TV screens they had around the whole place, and what do you know, I see my work in their TV ad. This time I was like, nah, this is wrong, I'm doing something about it this time. So I talked to a few of my colleagues at work and talked to the lawyer at work, and everyone agreed, yep, they were definitely in the wrong, and I had to do something about this.
In your gut, if you feel that someone's taking or ripping off your idea, yeah, write a letter to them and see if you can work it out face to face, kanohi ki te kanohi, or if that doesn't work, engage in a lawyer.
We drafted up this really huge email about how this organisation was committing a copyright infringement, and that they could be looking at a $150,000 fine for breaching copyright. I contacted the person in the photos and asked her what was going on, like how did they get them, and she admitted to giving them the photos, but she was under the impression that they were going to actually use photos that they had taken of her, not my ones.
If that doesn't work, I'd say get a lawyer if you can, connect with some lawyer on some sort of level, and yeah, get a letter or ask them questions about it.
And eventually I got in contact with a copyright lawyer. He made everything super formal and official, basically followed up my email that I sent to the organisation with this humongous invoice after we had a hui with them, about 5 days later they paid my ridiculous invoice. And so yeah, that was a win. That was really lucky for me. Looking back at it, I could have protected myself by getting copyright forms signed by everybody that I had photographed. That's something that I do now, and yeah, it just keeps me protected. Also them, it states on the talent release forms what the potential uses I might use the images for, and this just means that they know that I'm not going to use it for anything with ill intents, and then vice versa.
I think before we even had all of this, we sat down with the lawyer and locked all of that sort of stuff in. Even just for our own selves as shareholders of the business, you know, there's 4 of us, so we just had to understand how that all worked. But yeah, definitely intellectual property, we've sort of been educated from our lawyers how that works. It's a new area, space that we've sort of had to understand.
My instance happens actually quite a lot, so I'm not alone. Honestly, I'm not alone. There's a lot of people that rip off a lot of people, and sometimes we think, oh, it's, you know, overseas, especially China. Gosh, they take our designs and they reproduce them at you know, a lower cost. Where that may be true, I often find it's within our own backyard that we find people taking our creative or our intellectual property.
Or like protecting the mana of your work, or the integrity of your work. This is still an area that I need to grow in, that I need to learn more about. I still need to talk to some actual copyright lawyers around stuff. The basic level of it is making sure that people know it's your work.
Yes, there are people that will take your designs and take your things. In saying that, I think us as Māori, we come from quite similar backgrounds, and we use quite similar imagery, similar designs, like mangopari, for example. You know, that's something that is used quite a bit. So there's kind of like this kind of grey area, I feel, in regards to IP within our own backyard, because a lot of us have the same kind of cultural upbringing, we use the same kind of whakaaro, we use the same kind of themes. We might use that conversation to create stuff, whereas that's not it's not something that I think we can copyright.
As artists and as carvers and as Māori, we steal, and we do it outrageously. Whether it's the clothing we wear, the way that the younger people dance, they're stealing from other cultures.
We can produce similar things without actually knowing that that person's creating the same thing. And I only speak for that because I know an example for myself. I was creating this, I won't go into specifics, but let's say I was creating this bracelet. I actually noticed someone else creating a bracelet real similar to mine, and I was like, hey, Farah, are they copying me? But when I did some further investigating, they had actually started making that bracelet before me. But I didn't know them, they didn't know me, and we kind of came to the same similar looking product naturally. So that's the spaces where I think, you know, there's kind of a grey area. There are people that you know for 100% sure that are ripping you off, and then there's people that, you know, maybe do a bit more research to see if they are ripping you off.
My personal view on it is plagiarise and use every design you want, and expect to have your work plagiarised if it's good enough. Take it as a compliment in one way, but if you try to chase after them, prepare to have deep pockets. If you don't have deep pockets, be creative. Because if you're creative, you've already moved on from that design and you're creating something new, whether it's a product or whether it's a work of art.
When people talk about, oh, can we use this photo and we'll give you a credit, it'll be good exposure. Exposure is never going to be, it's never going to pay the bills. So that's pretty much a zero gain. What is important around, for me, around crediting and stuff is that people know it's your work. And so it is important for, you know, if my stuff's in a magazine or, you know, on someone's website or stuff like that, it is important for me that it's credited, and that it's more that people know it's your stuff. They can see, oh yeah, that's the level of your work.
Actually, James and Wales, the lawyers, go onto their website. They've got information about IP, copyright, trademarking, patents, all the information on their website that you can read about, and it applies to here in New Zealand.